Hello Formula One fans and welcome back to Into the Gravel, our second podcast where we're going to be talking all about the Chinese Grand Prix and looking forward to the Japanese Grand Prix. It's happening this week.
Yes.
Excited. Before we get into the Chinese Grand Prix though, I feel like we should talk about the elephant in the room, the big news that's happened last week, all about the Red Bull second seat. Liam Lawson has been dropped spectacularly after just 2 races, which is a bit savage, I think. Thoughts?
Yeah, it's Red Bull.
Yeah, it's Red Bull. It's Red Bull, but it's extreme.
It is. I didn't think it would be this quick, but obviously they got a place where they want to be, and Liam isn't fitting the bill.
Yeah. I did see a crazy stat though, which is that Max Verstappen has raced more races for Red Bull than Liam Lawson has done hours for Red Bull.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
It doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously there's some shareholders were promised better results or something along the lines, and that wasn't happening, so.
Yeah. But they said Yuki's got the whole season.
Oh, okay. They backed themselves into a corner, haven't they?
Helmet has come out and said Yuki's got the whole season to do himself, so.
Helmet says
Helmet says a lot of things.
lots of things.
Very true. But yeah, anyway, so that's the big news, but let's go and talk about the Chinese Grand Prix. We had a sprint race and we had the actual race as well, but early in the morning. All honesty, I didn't watch them that early in the morning because I have kids, so I watched them later on in the day. But yeah,
Sky.
Thank you, Sky, for that. Sprint race, Lewis's first pole and first win for Ferrari. Boop, boop.
Yes. First sprint race that Ferrari have won.
Is it?
Since sprint races,
Wow.
I believe. Fact check.
I didn't know that.
But I believe that's the first time Ferrari have won a sprint.
Interesting. Yeah, they've only been around for a few years, so yeah, I could see that being
Yeah.
true. I mean, it's not a proper race win, is it? That's what they always said, not a proper race win, but it still showed some pace.
Yeah, you can show that your car has pace around 16 laps or whatever it is. It looks like the car was set up to do that.
Yeah.
I'm interested, well, we'll get onto it, but I'm interested whether at that point, if the car was scrutinized or not.
Yeah.
Whether it would have been deemed to be legal, but I imagine it would be because, anyway, we'll probably talk about that later.
But yeah, do you know what I don't understand though, is that they won the sprint race and then Lewis said they made changes. This is what he always used to do at Mercedes as well, like show good pace on a sprint weekend and be like, I'm going to change it, and then just do terribly in the actual race.
I think the only person that really works for is Max and GP. They seem to be able to dial it in and dial it in.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people will do well and be like, oh, it'd be just good if I had a little bit of extra here.
Yeah.
And then whatever the engineering team do, just throw the car completely off whack. So.
And I get it, if you've done bad, fair dude, you've got nothing to lose, change it.
Yeah.
But if you've done well, I don't get it anyway, but there we go.
Yeah, I don't know. The car, they probably set the car up in such a way that it was good quick over 16 laps, but didn't have race pace.
Yeah, maybe that's true. So what else happened in the sprint? The crash on the last lap, Jack Doohan crashing. I thought it was really funny how Nico Hülkenberg and Carlos Sainz were just like, whoop, thank you very much, getting 2 places.
Exactly.
Yeah, Doohan crashed. I mean, it wasn't that spectacular.
It wasn't that spectacular, no. I felt a bit sorry for him, but...
I did too.
You know...
Because he didn't really do a proper race in Australia.
No.
He crashed out and then... Yeah.
Somebody's knocking at his door.
Yeah.
So he has every race as a chance to prove that he deserves that seat. I don't know if that's how the internal politics are working, but the media can have created a story that is how it is.
Yeah.
So
I actually thought he might get a bit of a reprieve from that because when the Liam Lawson rumours started, it was like Liam Lawson's gone and it's going to be Franco in the V Cup, and I thought, oh, Jack Doohan's going to be like, phew. But that clearly hasn't happened. But Liam Lawson.
Well, I thought it was all rubbish and just media speculation, but then I watched the behind the scenes video of when they do the F1 credits, the starting opening sequence, and there's a like behind the scenes shot of Franco also getting it done. So
you never know.
Bottas was also getting it.
He was, the Mercedes reserve. Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? It'd be a bit weird to put a reserve driver in the start credits. I don't know. But do they always do that?
Don't. But I didn't see any other reserve drivers there.
I can't remember when Ollie Behrman replaced Sainz. Did they change the starting credits? I do remember.
I don't think so because it was just for like one race, wasn't it? I don't think they would have changed. I don't remember. That's not a fact. That's just me thinking.
Bottas is a reserve driver for 2 teams now.
He is, yeah. What's that?
He's like trying to get all the dosh in.
Well, it's a foot in the door, isn't it? Because if you're reserved for 2 teams,
But
that's 4 drivers.
It's not foot in the door because there's no seats to sit in.
No, but you've got more of a chance of one of 4 drivers becoming L1 and having to step in rather than one of 2. And then if you step in and you're good, other teams are like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear you.
Talking about McLaren, Lando had a bit of issues in that sprint race.
I got issues. We've got issues. You've got them too.
I thought issues.
That's the one.
You've got them too.
That one.
But yeah, and he finished 9th.
In the sprint?
In the sprint.
Yeah. I was like, are we talking about the race or the sprint?
In the sprint.
Okay,
and
in the sprint.
I had a funny quote from our 6-year-old because he was watching it with me. He claims not to like Formula 1, but he was watching it with me and he goes, come on, you orange car, why are you driving so slow? Didn't want to tell them they're actually driving very, very fast. But
Yeah, I don't really know what went on
no, I don't know.
in the sprint.
Oscar was doing okay.
McLaren.
But Lando was
That they seem to be able to pull it round later in a race pace, but
yeah.
I don't know what was going on.
No, because he qualified in 6th and then dropped back to 9th, which was crazy.
Sometimes it's literally like cars being in dirty air and clean air make a massive difference.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can have like a top leading car, but chuck it behind
Yeah.
a load of dirty air, it doesn't perform. I think that's what Red Bull started having issue last season when the car started dropping back. The setup was not designed on Max's car to sit in dirty air. It's designed to sit at the front of the grid. So.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe that was Perez's issue all along.
Maybe.
But yeah, that was kind of all of my...
It's too much tequila probably.
Keep the car straight.
Did you see Helmut Marko? I think there was a piece of Helmut Marko being like, I called, me and Perez had a phone chat.
Okay.
And someone was like, oh, did you talk about the Lawson thing?
Yeah, and he was like, no, just...
And it was like, no, we just spoke about tequila. I was like, okay. Obviously, don't have much to talk about then this.
Yeah, that was my main takeaways from the sprint race. Do you have anything to add for the sprint race? It wasn't that eventful, really.
I think it was quite a good thing for Lewis.
Yeah.
I think to bolster his confidence and be like, actually, I'm in a car that can win races.
Yeah.
And I have skill that means I can still win.
And I can drive that car.
Or potentially only over 16 laps. But yeah, I think that will be good for the morale within the team. So I think that is a defining moment for
very true.
For Lewis.
Yeah. So moving on to the actual Grand Prix then. Even before the Grand Prix started, did you see in the anthem? You know, normally in the anthem, they're all stood there, but they've got their race suits like half sit down and they've got their like fire retardant things, and they feel quite professional. Yeah. Did you see what George was wearing?
No, I don't remember.
Have you seen his horrible, poofy, silver Adidas that he has? He was just stood there wearing that. He looked like such
Looking
a diva.
like a DJ.
It was, I did laugh out loud for that. I don't know if
George just makes me laugh all the time. Like, I don't know. So he's recently So Mercedes have recently got a new bag partner, Mouse, what was they called? And he's done an ad for them.
Okay.
And it's basically like him holding the bag, and he's basically like, this bag is very good. And it's like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Slightly lacking in
Charisma.
the charisma department.
Poor George.
But, you know, he is being consistent and getting P3s and P4s and just kind of the F1 TV squad aren't focusing on everything. But what race was it? The China one? Or was it the sprint? There was a race that I remember watching where the scoring system they just couldn't get to work. Was it qualifying?
I think it was a qualifying, wasn't it? And none of the timings were coming
Just
up
the
on what was
timing
going on. And then the
graphic
thing just kept disappearing.
was just like crashing, kept crashing.
Yeah, I think that was in one of the qualifying. Yeah.
It's all right, multi-billion-pound sport and still
Can't figure out graphics. Yeah, George came to P3 again. Very uneventful race that we saw. Who knows? He could have done some excellent things, but we didn't see it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that was him. Yay, obviously Oscar won. Boop boop. McLaren won too.
Yay.
Check that off my bingo card. Thank you
Is
very
it
much.
yay?
Yay for me.
Is it?
Yay me.
Oh yeah. Okay.
No, we'll get that wrong. It's because it's
I always wonder, not being necessarily like a Lando fan. Well, I like Lando, but I'm not like one of the raging girl fans.
yeah.
Like what they think when Oscar wins, if they're like ardent Lando supporters. They're like, oh, when it's Lando to win, I'm like, yay, Oscar won.
I like
his
both
teammate.
So. I liked Lando first, but that I guess because Lando's been in the sport longer. But I'm a McLaren fan, and I really quite like Oscar. He's very like unemotional about things. He's just like, yep, cool, won the race.
He reminds me of myself.
Yeah.
It's just like,
and I love
thanks guys, you know, it was good.
his mum. I love his mum. She's hilarious. If you listen to stories, I've listened to podcasts with her, and she has hilarious stories about Oscar. But did you see her in Australia using the big Oscar face as a sunshade?
I did not.
That was really funny. And then she posted after this race, that was a bit less stressful.
Yeah.
I like her. She's funny.
I think when Lando was having troubles, which I'm sure you'll come on to in a second, they panned to Lando's dad, and he wasn't looking very pleased. But
yeah,
I haven't seen any media release about what the actual issue was.
no, I don't know what it was.
There might be.
But touching on the dads, I'm really liking these paddock parents. That's what I'm calling them. You know, in football you've got wags.
But
wags
where's
and
the
girlfriends.
mums?
Lando's mum was there this time. But it's usually dads, isn't it? Yeah, Lewis's dad's there a lot. And they're giving them a lot of screen time. I'm here.
They are giving them more screen time.
Forget wags. We've got the paddock parents.
The wags are wives.
Wives and girlfriends, yeah. Forget them.
Okay.
We've got the paddock parents. That's what I'm calling them.
Okay. I think the parents in F1 get more screen time than the other half.
Yeah.
Like, but it's, I think because they've worked, usually the main parent who has driven them into F1.
Yeah.
And so they once they're there as well, they want to be part of the...
Because they've given up a lot to take them to go out and given a lot of money, so it's nice for them to share that with them. Yeah, it's true. I know, but I like it. Yeah, Lando's brakes.
Just, also, I didn't know, apparently Lando's dad runs like a electric scooter company.
Oh, really?
And he's all the scooters and stuff are made by like a lot of the F1 teams. He's his company to make the scooters.
Oh, nice. Where you see Lewis strolling and all this.
Yeah.
It's probably Lando's.
I did not know that.
No, I didn't know that either. But yeah, Lando's brake issues. So for the second week in a row, I was watching the Grand Prix with my heart in my mouth at the end.
It's good.
It's good, yeah. But I mean, it's not good that his brakes were failing because it was a bit touch and go then.
It adds suspense. It's like Lightning McQueen breaking his tyre.
Yeah, that's true. It adds a bit of drama.
Which I believe was, I don't know what happened first, but that also happened with Lewis.
We did, yeah.
So I don't know if Disney Nicky nicked that storyline from Lewis.
Maybe they did.
I it just gives that last bit of like, will
the brakes fail?
Will Max just catch him?
It wasn't Max, it was George. George was gaining on him.
Was it George?
Big time, yeah. George was gaining like.
So will the person behind George in this instance gain and catch and take them?
You're right. It's like that scene from Cars. The Queen's tire's blown. Catch him up. Catch him up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was George.
Yeah.
It's brakes. Go. But yeah. So hopefully they'll look into that and figure out what's gone on. But yeah, kudos to Lando for sticking it to the end.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not an engineer, but it was a progressive issue.
Yeah.
And the pedal was slipping losing pedal every lap, so not good. But
not what you want. It's going to go to 200.
He reminds me of Lewis a little bit in the fact that the team are like trying to get him to manage the issue and not put the car on the wall, and then he's putting in really fast laps still.
Yeah, and he was going, but I'm quicker than Oscar.
Yeah.
I can take it.
It reminds me of Lewis, like just those decisive moments in the heat of the race. Just being like, no, like we're not pitting, or I'm going to keep going, or just let me do it.
Well, Lewis is a champion, so maybe Lando will be a champion one day too.
Yeah. Maybe. He's hoping this year, I think.
I think so. It's a favourite.
We've still got a lot of races to go, and a lot of things to happen.
Yes.
The rise of Yuki.
The rise of Yuki. He wants to be on the podium. You heard it here first. No, you didn't hear it here first, but that's what he said. He wants to be on the podium in Japan. So
he is making a rod for his own back.
I think he is, yeah.
He said there's been multiple releases of where he said things like, I test drive the RB and it wasn't that hard to drive.
Yeah.
And I want to be on the podium.
Yeah, that's going to bite him in the butt.
Like, come on, my friend. Surely you have like a management. He's like, maybe just like play it down a bit.
Yeah.
Chill out. Because if he could go out early, and then that's really embarrassing.
It is, yeah. And if he then says that the car's hard to
and the
drive,
media are going to quote the things back to him that he said.
If he says the car's hard to drive, they're like, well, you said it was easy to drive.
Yes.
The thing that I find interesting though, have you seen the meme? Because there's been a long running joke, right, that Max is the teammate killer and Yuki is the teammate killer because they've both gone through quite a lot of teammates. Have you seen the one where it's like the two teammate killers converge? Which one's going to win?
I don't agree with the sentiment, but to the funniness in it. I think Red Bull's the teammate killer.
Yeah.
But
yeah, maybe.
They're just in their own lane.
Yeah.
The Yuki's there because, it sounds bad. He is good, but Honda do pay Red Bull money.
But they're not going to
have him. They're not going to have this year, but they have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not solely on his own merit. No. There's a bit of like, we're paying you to have him.
Yeah, that is true.
And Max is just good.
Yeah. Lawson qualified 20th in this race, so if he can qualify more than 20th, he's already winning.
I hope for Lawson's sake, he gets in the Visa Cash App.
The V-Club, yeah.
Racing Bulls.
Yeah.
And puts in a strong, like, top 10 win.
Yeah.
Just to be like a...
Just to prove the point.
Just to prove a point that there's... Either the top car has got issues or it's too pointed towards Max driving style.
Yeah.
And I saw a release, and I can't remember who it was from, basically saying Red Bull need to adjust their strategy to not all they look good in the RB to can they drive the Red Bull car?
Yeah.
Not can they win races in another team, it's can they drive this style of car.
It's two different beasts, isn't it? You can be good at the V-car but not good at the racing.
So
yeah, that's true.
Sorry, I went on a bit of a
that's okay.
tangent there.
So who else can we talk about? Well, it's time to talk about Ferrari, isn't it? Ferrari. Double DSQ for two different things. Do you know what I heard? I don't know if this is true.
What did you heard?
This is what I heard. Now there was an issue in Australia and Charles had water in his seat. you remember that?
Oh yeah.
I wiped, it must be the water.
Yes.
That. Apparently, whatever was leaking,
Yeah.
they didn't fix it. So it was leaking in China. It didn't get in the seat, but that's why he was underweight.
Of course.
Don't know if it's true. Could be all rumours. You'd hope not. You'd hope they'd have fixed it.
We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Teams never really give you direct answer on this sort of thing.
No.
Mainly because it probably, if they disclose too much, affect the FIA's ruling in some way, either make it worse or.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah.
I think Charles's was unfortunate.
Yeah.
Lewis's is a set-up decision.
Yeah.
So.
But I did quite enjoy Sassy Charles on the radio multiple times. Did you catch his sassy radios? The first one, I can't quite remember what the guy was trying to tell him to do, but it was something like, you're slow in this bit, don't go over the curb. It's just like, no. Do them. And the other one was, he was telling him, again, giving him information about, you're slow in these corners, try and do this. He goes, I know, you told me 10 or 15 times already.
And I think you have to be a bit cautious because obviously the media team are picking out certain things.
Yeah.
And Lewis gave a bit of kickback last week.
Yeah,
like,
there's lots of cons.
you're reading into something that isn't there.
Yeah.
I think on the other hand, you do have to think that's a media strategy response.
Yeah.
So there could be something going on, but the response we're going in with this week is you're reading into it too much.
Yeah.
So.
But no, I think reading into it, we're like, oh, he doesn't get on with his race engineer. I'm not saying that, I'm just saying it's quite funny. It's quite sassy.
Yeah.
What do you think? There's a lot of sassy videos.
You're allowed to be sassy.
Well, yeah, I enjoy it.
It's better if they're sassy.
Long live the sassy radio
Exactly.
messages. Do you know what other radio message I loved this week?
Okay.
Coming from Ollie Behrman.
Radio message of the week.
Ollie Behrman.
Ollie Behrman.
Ciao. Every time we made an overtake. Ciao.
Ciao.
It was so good. Afterwards, I saw an interview and he was like, yeah, I'm a bit embarrassed, but I thought that was immense. Ciao.
Is he pressing the radio talk button to do that?
He must have been because it came over the radio.
I don't quite know how it works. I don't know if there's a constant live feed or whether...
No, they press the button.
Or whether the only things that are recordable when they press the button.
No, they press the button. Because do you remember last year when Charles was going off on one, then he was like, oh, sorry, I didn't know I pressed the button.
Yeah.
But I think because you're communicating with the thing and he was happy that he'd made the overtake, so he was like, ciao.
Ciao.
I
Ciao,
liked it.
Bella. Yeah.
The other one I thought was great came from GP this week, GP to Max. He said, this was on lap
always got great
37.
messages.
Yeah, this was on lap 37.
Yeah.
Good pace, Max. Better late than never.
Yeah, I do remember that one.
Loved it.
I think that just shows good dynamic
Yeah,
in
it
relationships.
does. It's banter, isn't it? Give us
And maybe them playing on Lewis's little poke at them,
Maybe, yeah.
trying to. Yeah, I think what I had issue with Lewis doing is he kind of seemed to have issue with people pointing the relationship between his and his engineer, and then pointed it. He kind of did the same thing to Max and GP, which I don't think was particularly thought out well by him, but it's just hopeful. The other thing on the Ferrari point, just going back to that, is Ted, I can't remember his surname, from Ted's Notebook on Sky. I saw, I think on their podcast, or a bit on something, he was kicking himself because he was like, there was all these evidence of Fred Brazil having a conversation with certain people, and the cars being separated. And he was like, I completely didn't notice the signs that there was something going on with their cars. And that they were going to get disqualified. And he was like, if you look back at the footage now, it's obvious.
But hindsight is a wonderful thing.
Hindsight is a wonderful thing.
Last point on this race before we move on to Japan. Just want to shout out Alex and Williams because Alex has now outscored himself for the entirety of last season, as have Williams outscored themselves.
well done, Williams, in
Moving on up.
your remodelled previous year car.
Yeah. Doing well.
James Vales came out with his little
Yeah.
social media thing of like, I'm going to be blunt with this one or something like that.
Yeah.
They're both driving like a similar car, and it's a.
But he didn't actually address what people were saying.
It wasn't clear. He said, I'm going to be clear. But then what he said didn't really answer the question.
No, but I think he misunderstood what people were saying.
Okay.
He thought people were saying Carlos is using last year's car and Alex isn't. So he said they're both using last year's car. But what people are saying is he's using the chassis that's been destroyed by thingamajiggy so many times, by Lego Cycling so many times. That's why it's bad.
Yeah.
But he didn't address that. He just said they're both last year's car. But is it?
I don't think he would even ever address that.
Yes, we put him in the broken car.
Well, yes, they would, I think.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But 2026 is there, yeah. But yes, well done, Williams.
Well done, Williams. Boom. So,
I'd like to see some more performance out of Carlos.
Yeah.
But, he's getting used to the
Give him
team.
time. It's been 2 weeks.
My problem is the longer stint for him he goes without doing well, more and more it'll hurt his morale and confidence.
And people
from
start talking.
being in a top team. You can kind of fade into the background a little bit.
Come on, Carlos.
So apparently his father wanted him to join Audi.
Interesting. But then he'd be right at the back, so
If you're right at the back, yeah.
who knows? Wow. We spun the wheel for our championship points last week,
The wheel.
and I don't know if you remember
How
who
many
you
points
spun.
did I get? I spun McLaren.
And you got 51 points. So it could have been worse, because they could have won the sprint as well.
Is that how we're scoring it?
Yeah.
I get all their points.
You get all the points for the week. Yeah.
Oy.
So don't look at my notes.
I was going to steal Uncle Roger thing then. I thought I'd just get a point.
No, you get all the points if you had the money.
Oh,
That was going to work. So, I spun...
Copyright Uncle Roger.
Yeah.
Not me.
I spun Alpine. Do you recall where Alpine came? Or
Well, Jack crashed.
crashed? Yeah.
Pierre Gasly.
You can't remember when they came. Guess how many points they got?
None.
Yeah. 0 points for me. And do you know what's even more ironic? Because do you remember when we span?
Are we including the sprint?
Yeah.
Did they get 0 points?
No, because it only goes down to 8th for the sprint. So
Oh, no.
I know. But do you remember? You span first, you got McLaren. As I span, I said, watch me get Haas now.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I wish I'd got Haas because they got 14 points.
Haas have come back.
They have.
Everyone in Australia was like, that car is washed.
Yeah. They've come back.
Yeah.
And they've got a stunning livery for Japan. So
Can't wait to see
we'll talk about it in a minute. Right. We're going to spin our wheels for Japan,
the wheel.
first of all. And then we're going to talk about the race. So let us spin. Are you going to spin first or me? You spun first last time. Shall I spin first this time?
Sure.
I'm going to regret this, aren't I? I'll spin first and get some of my back.
You spin.
And then you spin and I get something really
The
good.
wheel spin.
All right, who are we going to get? Ooh, Red Bull.
Okay. Yuki.
Better. I'm going to get some points.
Yuki's promising you a podium.
He's promising me a podium, so we're all good. I'm going to get a podium with Yuki. Thank you very much, Yuki. Alrighty. Spin the wheel. Who are you going to get him?
I don't know. I feel like Mercedes would be a snake. Where are we?
We are in Japan.
No. Toto Wolff's not there.
No.
Team around might be no.
As if!
Come on.
McLaren again!
Come
I
on,
should have
baby.
spun
Light my fire.
second.
Obviously, I am the real McLaren fan, even though I don't support McLaren.
Obviously. Well, I'm going to be torn this week. Do I support my team or do I support my team?
Do you support your team?
Last week
or do
I
you
could
support
support
your team?
Alpine and still support McLaren. This week's going to be a bit
Red Bull, McLaren, though, are
Yeah.
at least they're close.
At least they're close, yeah.
Alpine and McLaren.
Yeah, well, that's why I could support them both.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's going to be interesting. You're going to get more points, and I'm going to get some points, hopefully, on the board this time.
You definitely get some points.
Come on, Max.
Oh,
I don't
McLaren
want
could have a bad week.
I still want Lando to win.
Weekend.
No, I'm torn. I want Max to win, but I want Lando to win. Really hard.
It's the beauty. It's the beauty of the game.
Of the
It's
championship.
a beauty, mate.
Beauty, mate.
Wrong place, and it's be like that in Japan.
Do a Japanese accent.
Yeah, please don't. That you get cancelled.
So we've got some special liveries coming on up for Japan. We've already hinted at the Haas one.
The Haas one, yeah.
I really like that with the flowers. I think that's my favourite of the special liveries. I think that's really nice. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think. I'm trying to think. I feel like someone's gone a bit harder on the cherry blossom vibes in previous years.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I think it looks cool.
also, the Red Bull livery.
Yeah.
Is it April Fool's?
Lie. Because they've been teasing this and people have been saying it for a while. The steak one was it?
So basically, you're not going to know who's driving a Red Bull, who's driving a Racing Bull.
They do look slightly different though, actually.
Okay.
I do quite like this Red Bull white livery. White, and there's just a Red Bull.
Red Bull.
But I had that was meant to be pink, and that would have been even cooler.
Oh, also, just jumping back to Lawson thing.
Yeah.
There was someone in New Zealand, Australia, did like a graphic of the Red Bull thing, and it was like someone on scissors and cut the wings on it. It was like Red Bull cuts your wings and clips your wings.
That was funny.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to see a pink. White with pink would have been sick.
white with pink.
Yeah, that's what it was going to be. So where the red is on the bull, it was going to be pink.
Surely Alpine could do something.
Good.
But they are like, no, we are French.
Middle
We
of
only cover our car in croissants and escargot.
What's escargot?
Escargot? Snails.
Okay.
Escargot. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Sorry, French
People. About that.
people.
But
I
going
don't
back,
think this video would be served to French people. So.
going back to the Red Bull livery, do you think this livery was always planned? Or do you think they saw how much people like the V-carb livery and they were like, we need to jump on that so people like us again?
I don't know, Red Bull. They still owe the fans the fan-designed livery that never got released.
Because the paint's too heavy. But I don't get that, right? So they're not doing the pink livery because the paint's too heavy.
Yeah.
But they've done white and red paint. So is pink heavier than red?
I don't know. I'm not going to even try and say that I have any idea about
I'm interested.
paint weights.
We need to get someone on who knows about paint weight.
Okay, let's find a material engineer.
Maybe my cousin knows.
Your cousin might know.
Yeah.
He is a material engineer.
I'll attempt to.
I don't know if he works in paint.
Paint? No, I don't think he does.
Probably more carbon fibre.
Carbon fibre.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, anything you're particularly looking forward to about Japan? Apart from winning more points in the championship.
Yeah, I think Suzuka's always a good race. I hope Yuki does what he says he's going to do.
I hope Lawson beats you.
I think for Yuki's sake, he does what he says he's going to do.
Yeah.
And it's good for Honda, it's good for Red Bull,
That's true.
it's good for the country of Japan, and it's good for his career. But for the lols, I hope Lawson gives a big middle finger up to Red Bull. For me, it's like when it was all dropped that Carlos was leaving.
Yeah.
And for a few races, he was like on fire.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm proving to you that you're getting rid of, you've made your own choice here.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, even going to come back from surgery.
Yeah. Pretty rock. Win a race.
Win a race.
It's true.
So.
Oh, we'll see. Lots to look out for.
Yep.
And we'll be back here next week to talk all about it.
All about it.
All about it.
Not big issue. Get your paper. Read all about it.
Read all about it.
That's the one.
But for now, enjoy the race.
Yes.
We'll see you next week. Ciao.
Ciao, Bella. Bella, ciao.
Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao.